There is a tap that exists in your mind with an owner who is impossible to find. When the tap flows, there is creativity, joy, and bliss. When the tap stops, there is depression, anxiety, and all the rest. People have called the tap by many names. For me, an attempt to name is an attempt to tame. Religions call it God, Allah, Source. Spirituality calls it consciousness, the One, the universe. The difficulty here is how to explain something that can't be found using your brain. The tap is the water feeder and you're the mouse. It's the breast and you're the infant's mouth. It's the sun and you're the flower and bud. It's the mum, you're the kid who receives unconditional love. It's a force, a presence, a whispering source of information. You're likely scared of it because you fear religious indoctrination. The truth is that blind faith will never help you find the tap. Honest and scientific self-examination is the only thing that will do that. You can find it at home sitting in a chair, or you can take ayahuasca in the jungle if you're not too scared. However you find it, let me tell you, once you do, you realise there really is no you. Gone will be your desires, your cravings, your attachments, your fear. In their stead, you'll discover what it means to be truly here, and to truly hear, and to get rid of that mask, that veneer, to see the pure and absolute truth that your experience is all you really need is proof. You'll think, holy shit, there actually is a tap of some description. I don't have a fucking clue what it is, but it wasn't all superstition. It's the thing that drips ideas and inspiration into my mind. It's the thing that shows me the way when there's no path I can find. It's the place I go when I write, draw, play music or create. And it's accessible at all times, I just need to change my state. People have called it the Tao, Brahman, the way, the absolute, the infinite, the great mystery. Me? I just call it the tap. And I'll leave it at that. For the last 7 to 10 days, the tap turned off and I slipped back into depression that I haven't experienced in a while because I've been living in this state of absolute bliss. Everything that I thought I'd overcome resurfaced and came back. You know, all the insecurities that I thought I'd dealt with came back. I had no energy to do anything. I couldn't look people in the eye. I didn't want to socialise. I became a hermit. All of a sudden I went from being so confident, so funny, so intelligent, it felt like, to feeling like I was fucking losing it. I swear, I was looking around and I was thinking, am I just pathetic? Am I just here making videos on YouTube like a fucking dafty when other people are over there, you know, changing the world? What am I doing in my life? Do I need to figure out how I get more money? Do I need to get a bird? Should I socialise more? Do I need to engage with the world more? I went from being an absolute certainty of the state that I had achieved internally to losing myself back in the world again, losing myself back in the old insecurities, looking in the mirror and losing myself back into like, oh fuck, my teeth are getting a bit crooked and oh, my teeth are a bit yellow and oh, my skin's not looking great and oh, I'm going bald and oh, I need to work on, you know, I need to go to the gym and get more muscles and maybe I should whiten my teeth and maybe I need to do this thing. Should I shave my moustache? What do I need to do with my hair? Ah! The tap was turned off. And when that happens, we go into depression. When that happens, we start looking to the world, looking to the external world for the things that are going to try and solve the feeling that we're having internally. But that's not how it works, because I know why I went into depression, and I'll explain why it happened. Basically, since I was about 12 years old, I had undiagnosed OCD. I had no idea that this is how my brain worked. I knew I had an extremely anxious baseline in life. I knew that made life mostly unpleasant, even though there were moments when I was like 4 pints deep at the pub and you're cracking jokes and everyone laughs and you're like, oh my God, I'm king of the world. I forgot I was this guy and I forgot I was super confident. The rest of the time I was just this anxious, bubbling little fucking puddle of goo. But the reason this happened to me, the genesis of it, is because when I was 11, 12, I developed something called gynecomastia. It's enlarged male breast tissue. And this basically means that you get fucking bitch tits when you're a kid coming into your teenage years, when you're supposed to be having sex, you're supposed to be comfortable, you're supposed to be coming into your body and, you know, maybe hitting the gym and getting fit. And meanwhile, I'm here and I'm so uncomfortable in my own skin that I can't even take my t-shirt off in fucking gym class. I'd have to wear a t-shirt underneath my shirt 24/7, even when it was the summer in Scotland, which it's not that hot, but it gets hot enough because I had to neutralise the effect that my chest was having on whatever jumper I was wearing at the time, whatever t-shirt I was wearing over the top. This was how I lived my life, and this is how you develop OCD. It's becoming fixated on something negative about yourself, checking yourself in the mirror 100 times a day like it's an obsession. And the thing is, I then had surgery when I was 22 years old. I fixed it to a decent enough extent I could move on my life with this physical ailment, but it didn't fix the mental patterns of thought, and I didn't realise this. But then all that happened, because I didn't know I had OCD, was that I just went on to the next obsession. Oh, I'm going bald, oh no, or like, oh, I'm getting wrinkles, or whatever it was always something. I was obsessed about my physical appearance. This has been my thing throughout my entire fucking life. And it wasn't until a year ago, after 24 ayahuasca ceremonies, that I finally came to the realisation that all of the suffering I'd had in my life was because I had undiagnosed OCD. Basically, I had created illusions in my mind. Not that the physical thing wasn't real. Not that I'm not going bald. But the suffering that I created was because I was living in my life, in my head, 100% of the time, and I was living in an illusion that I let my mind create. I was allowing my mind to just spin in circles about this one thing that I was fixating on from the minute I got up to the minute I went to bed, and it was torture. It was literal hell. And as the years went on, and this wasn't dealt with because it was undiagnosed, I didn't even know it was there, it got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. More extreme and more extreme, to the point where I was like, I think I understand why people commit suicide. I'm not going to do it. You know, it's not on the table yet, but now I know where people go to in their minds, in their life, in order to feel that committing suicide is the best option for you. You live in fucking hell in your head. That's what it is. And this isn't just OCD, by the way. I'm saying this is how most people live. And like, maybe your form of living in your mind is slightly better than mine was. Maybe I had a very extreme version. I don't know. But the point is, living in your fucking mind is torture. And it wasn't until once I did ayahuasca I realised that, hang on a minute, everything I've been suffering from is just my mind. And I learned slowly but surely to bring the energy back from the mind, which is the Western world has us living in our fucking intellectual mind 24/7, bring it into the body, which is the wisdom of ancestral medicine and the wisdom of the Eastern traditions. It's all about bringing energy into the body, into the present moment. I realised, oh, there's peace here, there's bliss here, there's joy here. The present moment's fucking miraculous. I solved every single problem I had because I stopped looking at the problems, because I stopped thinking about my problems. I no longer was in my head obsessed about myself. And I started looking out at the world instead of thinking about me all the time. Instead of being self-obsessed, I became present to the world around me. And that's essentially the experience of, quote unquote enlightenment. Obviously it goes a lot deeper than that, but it's just coming into present moment reality. Once you're in present moment reality and you're not living in your head, everything's good. Everything's good, all is well. You might have 20 quid in the bank, but you're sitting drinking a cup of tea with a friend having a conversation. So if you're just in that moment, then it's all good. And so to get back to the story, everything was going well. I'd cracked this piece. I was no longer living as Jack. I was in the moment. I was like, holy fuck, I think I felt high all the time. I felt like I was really cracking it. And then 7 days ago, something happened. 7 days ago, I had a thing with my hair. My hair's getting pretty fucking long. And I was like, fuck, I'm going to have to start doing something with my hair. And I'm not shampooing it. So then I was on Reddit, no shampoo, and it was teaching me all these little, scritching techniques in order to, care for your hair when you're not shampooing it. And then you need to, fucking twirl it like this and all this shit. All these obsessions that people have, online complexes that people have created for themselves. Not that these things are bad. Not that it's not good to take care of your hair. However, for me, it's not good to think about these things, I've discovered. And so I then let this obsession about my hair become a chink in my armour. And all of a sudden I'm looking in the mirror again. I'm looking at my appearance. I'm looking at my wrinkles. And I'm thinking, oh fuck, maybe I should do more facial yoga exercises to make my skin better. Maybe I should get my teeth whitened. And I'm back living in the fucking ego. And every single day for the last week, I've been self-obsessed, constantly thinking about myself, constantly worrying about my appearance, and then I'd have a conversation and I'd be across from someone that's more attractive than me, and then I'm thinking about how attractive I am in this conversation. All this shit, just back in the fucking torture that I'd lived in for 18 years, back in the hell. And then there's always a million problems that the mind creates, and you need to fix your hair, and you need to fix your teeth, and you need to fix your jawline's a bit out of place, and you should do these exercises for your skin, and you need to fix your back posture, it's not great, maybe you should do more yoga, you need to work out more. And it's just oh my God, it's a never-ending list of problems that you have to solve when I'm living worried about Jack. It's so fucking exhausting. And as a result, the tap turned off. My life was ruined. I couldn't fucking do anything. I was sitting right at the laptop. I would sit at the laptop and I couldn't produce anything. It was harder to make these YouTube videos, although I just powered through. Nothing was working. Nothing was working. The button, my inspiration, my excitement, my life force button just didn't work anymore. And it culminated in something where there was these facial yoga exercises that I was going to do. And I was like, I'm just going to try this out. Maybe if I just do something for the fortification of my ego once, just one little thing, then it'll be fine. I can just do this one little thing and I'll feel better about myself because I feel better. And so I did it. I was like, let me just try. I did it for 2 nights. And it made it 10 times worse. Then I just started thinking, my life throughout my entire day was me worrying about my own appearance. So ultimately, in the end, last night, I decided, okay, I get it. I can't do a single thing that's purely for the fortification of my own ego. I understand now because I've tried and because all it does is lead to suffering for me. So, okay, I'm not going to do anything like that anymore. I'm going to go back to 100% integrity, not because I'm this amazing person. Look how integrous I am. Look how fucking much integrity. It's not that. This is a survival mechanism for me. It's the only way that I can achieve peace internally. And that's why I see the OCD that I experienced as a blessing, because it has made my mind such fucking torture to the point that me living in the ego is so unbelievably hellish. I can click back into it and then I'm in hell for as long as I choose to stay there. It's torture. I know it's torture. I've been in the torture for years. And so I can choose to be in that state, the ego state. Or in 1 second, I can click back into the state of no ego, of pure awareness. And when I'm in that state, I'm living in absolute bliss. So from one side to the other, for me now, has become so extreme that it forces me to live in this no ego state. It forces me to use these tools on a daily basis. It forces me to be absolutely aware in every single moment, because I do not have a choice. Because if I allow myself to slip for 1 second, I go into depression for a week that ruins my life and rips rips all the life force away from me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read you a chapter of a book from a man called Kapil Gupta, because this chapter from his book Atmamun was the first time that I ever experienced an ego death without having to go to a darkness retreat or an ayahuasca retreat or take LSD. This happened to me in 5 minutes sitting at home. So I want to read the chapter for you, and maybe it's going to be an exercise that helps you as well, okay? Your manufactured self. When you look in the mirror, it shows you an image of the person you have habitually come to regard as yourself. Because you believe this to be yourself, you have spent your entire life attempting to adorn him, fortify him, protect her, and guide her. If someone says anything against this person, you retaliate. If someone tries to harm this person, you rush to protect him. If he is hungry, you feed him. If he is tired, you allow him to rest. His every little wish is your command. His mundane desires, his need for approval, his hope for success, these are all your life's work. You work incessantly for him, and you never question it. Even the thought of questioning it puzzles you. It may cause you all sorts of hardship, but you wouldn't have it any other way. The survival and well-being of this person in the mirror represents the full sum of your life. Imagine that I came to you and said that I would take care of this person in the mirror for you. Imagine that I gave you a week's rest for 1 full week. I would take care of his needs and attend to all her concerns. From her disappointments about her career to his hope for becoming a success. From his conflict in his family life to her desire for happiness. His hunger, her sleep, his thirst, her sense of peace, you would be free of it all for 1 week. What would that week be like? There would be no worry, for there would be no one to worry about. There would be no hope, for there would be no one to hope for. There would be no boss to impress or family member to apologise to. What would you do with your time? How would you spend your day? I want you to go there now within yourself. Fear not. I will not give you the luxury of 1 week, for man has learned to shun such guilty pleasures. I will only give you a few minutes. For the next few minutes, this person in the mirror is not your concern. Just for a few minutes, whether he lives or dies, is tired or hungry, is hopeful or depressed, is not your concern. For the next few minutes, this person in the mirror has no caretaker. His caretaker is taking a break. Put this book down, pause this video, and do it now for the next 5 minutes. Please actually do this. I will assume that you have done the exercise. Now that you have done so, I will not ask you how you feel. I will not ask you to tell me what I want to hear, for there is nothing that I want to hear. Insights are achieved in silence. When they are spoken of, they are poisoned. Feelings are feelings, and in many ways to speak is to lie, for language cannot justify the subtleties and nuances of feeling. For your entire life you have lived as a slave to the person in the mirror, and it has just destroyed your life. This is always the case with slaves, for there is no state that is more lamentable than the loss of one's freedom. You are not you. I will briefly outline your life, for it is your life is the same as every other human being's life. It differs only in the details. Only the one who seeks transformation will allow themselves the objectivity to imbibe the following words. Your life is in turmoil, and you attempt with all your might to organise the turmoil into a semblance of acceptability. You beautify the face you show to others so that the responses that you receive from them may uplift you. You raise your children in the image of your own ego, and you often cry in bed at night for the way that you sometimes treat them. Misery, hope, disappointment, longing, emotions, these are your bedfellows, and they are the centre of your life experience. Why? I will now reveal to you the truth. the truth that no one has ever before revealed to you. The life that you are currently living is not your real life, because you are living through the sheath known as the mind. The mind desires, and you believe it is you who is desiring. The mind craves one success after another, and you believe that it is you who craves. The mind creates your turmoils, and you set off in a frenzy to clean up its messes, believing that it is you who made them. Your attempt to become a good person is an attempt to polish that which is known as ego. And understand this immediately and clearly. The ego is not that which says that you are great. It is that which says you exist at all. And now we come to the mind's masterstroke, the greatest illusion in the history of man, the sleight of hand that has the entire world enchanted and confused, the idea that you exist. This is the one single source of all your problems. This is the genesis of all your turmoils. This is the seed of all your troubles. Allow me to explain. Take for instance a lovely woman named Naomi Johnson. Naomi believes that she exists as a person called Naomi Johnson, and thus she will beautify Naomi. She will adorn Naomi. She will have dreams for Naomi. She will have plans for Naomi. She will attempt to make Naomi good and helpful and ambitious and mannerly. She will attempt to make Naomi a success. She will attempt to make Naomi a star. She will spend Naomi's entire life doing these things, and for the entirety of this life she will live in abject misery. Why? Because Naomi Johnson doesn't really exist. The mind that is within Naomi has created this persona that her parents named Naomi Johnson, and this creation of this persona is the genesis of all of Naomi's problems. How? Because whatever happens in Naomi's life does not just happen, it happens to her. The breakups, the disappointments, the conflicts, and all of life's endless upheavals happen to Naomi. As a result, she is simply doomed to a life as a piñata battered by circumstance, and all the psychotherapy, the meditation, the yoga, and the counselling in the world cannot help her. Why? Because even as she pursues such remedies, she pursues them as Naomi Johnson. If you were to shower with your clothes on, would you ever become clean? The beautiful human beings that I counsel have the world at their feet. They have great wealth and notoriety and all that the material world can offer. Yet what they seek is the experience of bliss and peace and unbridled freedom, and this the material world cannot give them. Here is the ultimate truth of your life. Naomi Johnson is not the person she thinks she is. She is the being that knows that a persona called Naomi Johnson has been created. It is the same for you. And once you experience this, the troubles of life may continue in full force, but they will no longer have the power to affect you. And this, my friend, will be your doorway to bliss. Aren't you tired of being you? Aren't you tired of looking at yourself, of the sound of your voice, of knowing what you're going to say before you say it, of thinking the same things, of living with the same opinions? Aren't you tired of this person that you've lived with your entire life? Aren't you tired of this person called you? You try to preserve yourself in front of others, but you run from yourself in private. You make your opinions known to those around you and you question them in the quiet of your room. Is there not a whole new possibility outside of yourself? Wouldn't you like to be something else? Not someone else, but something else. Wouldn't you like to see through new eyes? Eyes that see what is actually in front of them? Eyes that seek reality instead of confirmation? Wouldn't you like to think less? Wouldn't you like to care less? Wouldn't you like to look in the mirror and see only the mirror? Instead of living under nature, wouldn't you like it to live through you? Hasn't this you become a burden yet? For how long will you carry it around? Why not just park it in storage while the non-you goes for a stroll? Why not leave it to itself while the non-you sees what it's been missing for all these years? The you that you've been told to look for is the same you that has prevented you from seeing it. Show yourself the non-you and let those around you see it as well. They will look at you different. They will get lost as they look into your eyes, because in them they will not see you but themselves. They will adore this aimless, opinionless, transparent you, the non-you. And the most beautiful thing of all is that it will be evergreen. The non-you will require no maintenance, no care, no adornment. You will blend into the ether. You will be free of all that has ever concerned you, because you will finally be free of the you that has brought about all the concerns. May you never be yourself again. We are slaves to ourselves, and we think that we are free. The greatest freedom that we have is the freedom to walk away from ourselves. I will say this again. The greatest freedom that we have is the freedom to walk away from ourselves. The day that you walk away from yourself, you no longer feel the need for happiness, for bliss has become yours. Why? Because there is no longer any burden to carry. There is no great master to take care of. You are absolved of your responsibilities. You are now officially off duty. You are free to dance in the fields and roam in the hills. In becoming nothing, you have gained everything. The path to Atma Mun, the single greatest obstacle to Atma Mun, is the presence of your manufactured self. The person that you call yourself. The person that you call myself is the source of all your miseries. Remove this manufactured self and you will be free as a living God.